What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. Today we're going to be going through a Week 4 recap of the fantasy stats for the game between the Wildcats and the Guardians. But hey, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before we get going, which is right now. Alright guys, so final score in this one, Guardians 17, Wildcats 14. After everyone had finally written the Guardians off, they come back and surprise us. Honestly, I wasn't too surprised by this outcome. LA traveling from coast to coast, going all the way to New York. The weather was pretty cold, lots of wind up there in MetLife, and hearing that Matt McGloin was out and that they were starting Luis Perez definitely gave me a bit more confidence in this team. We saw their defense continue to look good, and their offense was able to put together some drives. Darius Victor definitely had a really good day on the ground. They were just able to slow the Wildcats offense down enough. Plus, the Wildcats were just really injured. They had a lot of star players out, so not surprised by this one. I don't think this is too indicative of the Wildcats being a bad team. I think the Guardians are just a little bit better than we've seen in the past 2 weeks. So let's get into the fantasy stats and look at all of the box scores for this game. All right, starting with the LA Wildcats, we have Josh Johnson still looking pretty good. He did have his first interception in this game, but it wasn't really his fault. The receiver just kind of hit it up into the air, and then the defender grabbed it. 25 of 40, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that, 1 interception, as I said. Otherwise, pretty good. Had a couple of deep balls that the receiver either just dropped, or he had one where he underthrew Kermit Whitfield. But still pushing the envelope, going deep downfield. Really like what he's doing there. A 330-yard game, that's pretty impressive in the XFL right now. Not too many 300-yard games through the air. No rushing to speak of. Dwan Harris had the most yards on the day, 5 for 25. Martez Carter was ruled out after dealing with an ankle injury all week, so hopefully he'll be back next week. This team desperately needs him. Looking at the receivers, again, no Nelson Spruce in this one either. Trey McBride coming through, 12 targets, 8 receptions on the day, 127 yards, and 1 touchdown. Just getting it done all over the place. He definitely was sorely needed for this team. When they get Nelson Spruce back, those two guys are just a tremendous combination for this team. Jordan Smallwood basically taking over for Nelson Spruce, getting a lot of those targets. 7 targets on the day, 5 receptions for 75 yards. Also had he had the 2-point conversion on the day. And then Saeed Blacknell had a 1 catch for 42 yards and a touchdown. He had a couple other deep shots as well. So a name that we're going to want to look out for. Adonis Jennings, 3 for 30. Brandon Barnes, 3 for 24. Basically, you're getting everyone else here is what we're expecting at this point. So keep monitoring what's going on with Nelson Spruce, but pretty excited to see what is happening with Trey McBride. He is turning into a star in this league. All right, jumping over to the New York Guardians, but before we go there, if you guys want to see a quick recap of this game, you can actually watch the entire game in a condensed fashion by clicking the link above me here or the link in the description. Anyway, let's get into the New York Guardians. All right, so as I mentioned, Luis Perez, pretty good on the day, 18 of 26, 150 yards, 1 touchdown on the day. Could have easily had 2 touchdowns, but we'll get into that in just a minute. But looking at the running backs, Darius Victor here getting it done, 18 carries for 82 yards, 4.6 average. Definitely has turned out to be one of the better power rushers in the XFL, and has really usurped Tim Cook as the lead back in this system. Looks really good out there. The Wildcats do give up a lot of fantasy points to the opposing running backs, so definitely something to have to consider here for his performance. But if the Guardians' offensive line continue playing the way that it did, Darius Victor should be a pretty strong running back for fantasy going forward. All right, jumping over to the receivers. Now we'll begin with Mikael McKay. He was 2 for 12 on 4 targets. Did have the 1 touchdown, which is really nice, but unfortunately near the end of the game, about 5 minutes ago in the 4th quarter, if you guys watched the recap, you have seen this just make you rip your hair out. Threw deep downfield, was a little underthrown on Luis Perez's part, but Mikael McKay had it on his fingertips and he just let it slip out of his hands. It would have been a massive touchdown had he caught that ball. He would have been able to basically just walk into the end zone. He had beat both of the defenders that were guarding him, so really hope that he can come back from that one and get another deep bomb next week and make up for it, but definitely going to be a buy low this week. Colby Pearson, most targeted receiver on the day, 5 for 34. We've got Jake Powell, 3 for 34. He had a couple targets in the red zone actually, so definitely stock up for him. EJ Bibbs, not involved too much, but definitely hard to bring down. 2 for 24. Wouldn't be surprised if they start using him a little bit more going forward. No one else really here worth mentioning, at least in terms of targets and yards. So, saw a pretty dominant performance from their defense as well. Just excited to see the Guardians finally be able to rebound. We really want this league to succeed, and we need every team to be pulling their weight. So I think Luis Perez definitely gives this team the boost that they need. So anyway, that was the recap. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking for stats, rankings, everything that you need for your fantasy leagues, make sure you check out my website at fantasyaddictionnetwork.com and hit that like and subscribe button for more content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.